Two used Silverados sit on the same lot. Same body, same 5.3-liter V8 badge on the side, same price. One of them will run to 300,000 miles on nothing but oil changes. The other one is hiding a $6,000 repair that has not happened. What? From the outside, you cannot tell them apart. The badge says 5.3 on both. But the 5.3 in one of those trucks is a completely different engine than the 5.3 in the other, because over 27 years, GM quietly stripped the durability out of this engine one piece at a time, chasing fuel economy. Today I am going to tell you exactly which years to buy, which years to walk away from, and the 1-year range you should avoid entirely. By the end of this, you will glance at the year of any used Silverado and know instantly whether the engine under that hood is a 300,000-mile workhorse or a lawsuit with wheels. Have your year ready. Let's get into it. Gen 1. The LM7, 1999-2007. Buy. If you find a first-generation 5.3, the LM7, built from 99 to 07, in good condition, buy it. This is the golden era of this engine, and it is not close. Here is why. The LM7 used a heavy cast iron engine block with thick cylinder walls, and here is the detail most buyers never learn. That block was essentially shared with the 6.0-liter used in GM's heavy-duty trucks. Same block design, same nodular iron crankshaft, same 6-bolt main caps, same connecting rod design. What that means in plain English is that GM put a heavy-duty commercial bottom end into a half-ton pickup. It was massively overbuilt for the load it actually carried. To put that in today's terms, imagine buying a modern half-ton and popping the hood to find the short block from a 6.6-liter heavy-duty gas engine. That is what the LM7 was. On top of that strength, the valve train was dead simple. In-block camshaft, push rods, 2 valves per cylinder, no variable valve timing, no cam phasers, and most important of all, no cylinder deactivation, no collapsible lifters, no active fuel management. The single most failure-prone system in every modern 5.3 does not exist on this engine. It runs 5W30 oil through a simple fixed displacement oil pump that makes full pressure all the time. It used port fuel injection, which means no carbon buildup on the valves and no buried high-pressure fuel pump to fail. And it had 15 head bolts per cylinder head, when Ford and Ram were using 10. Head gasket failures on these are rare. 300,000 miles on an LM7 with good maintenance is not a miracle. It is normal. The only real downsides are fuel economy and power. You are getting maybe 14 miles per gallon and around 270 to 295 horsepower. If you can live with that, this is the most reliable 5.3 GM ever built. Now the practical buyer's reality. The LM7 is old. The newest is a 2007, so the truck around the engine will have the miles, rust, and wear of a vehicle that age. You are not buying these for a pristine truck. You are buying them because the engine outlives everything bolted around it. A clean body LM7 with documented history, even at 200,000 miles, has an engine that is barely middle-aged. This is the engine people pull out of wrecked trucks and drop into other vehicles specifically because it will not die. That is the entire origin of the term LS swap. When an engine has a whole subculture built around how hard it is to kill, that tells you what you are buying. Look past the age of the body. The LM7 is the one you buy and then stop worrying about. Gen 2, 2007 TO 2013. Buy, with one condition. The second generation 5.3, built from 07 to 2013, is where things get more complicated, and where you have to know exactly what you are looking at. Start with the good news. The bottom end got better. GM added stronger connecting rods. The block came in either aluminum or cast iron. The higher trims tended to get aluminum, the work trucks tended to get iron, and if you want the stronger, more durable option, find the iron block. Mechanically, the short block on these is solid. Here is where the condition comes in. Starting in this generation, GM added variable valve timing, a timing chain tensioner, and guides that the first gen never needed. And, this is the one that matters, active fuel management, AFM. On the vast majority of these trucks, 4 cylinders shut down under light load to save fuel, and that system runs on collapsible lifters that are the single most common failure point on the whole platform. When an AFM lifter collapses, it can take the camshaft with it, and you are looking at a $3,000 to $7,000 repair. So here is the condition. Buy a second-gen 5.3 only if one of two things is true. Either the AFM has already been deleted with a proper kit and you have documentation, or you are buying it at a price low enough that you can budget an AFM delete or at minimum a disabler the week you get it home. Find an iron block second gen with the AFM deleted and clean maintenance records, and you have got yourself a genuinely strong truck. Buy one with the AFM still active and no plan to address it, and you are just waiting for the lifter to go. Let me give you the numbers so you can make the call at the lot. A disabler that plugs into the OBD2 port and keeps the truck in V8 mode runs about $60 and takes 30 seconds to install. But understand what it does and does not do. It stops the computer from commanding cylinder shutdown, which stops the lifters from cycling, but it does not remove the collapsible lifters already in the engine. A full AFM delete, new camshaft, standard lifters, valley cover, and a tune runs $1,000 to $2,000 installed, and that is the permanent fix. So the buyer math is simple. If the seller has already spent that money and can prove it with receipts, that truck is worth more to you than an identical one with lower miles and the AFM untouched. If they have not, subtract the cost of the fix from what you are willing to pay, because you are going to be spending it. And when you are looking at two of these side by side, the iron block is the stronger long-term choice. It is heavier, so a truck that feels notably heavier in the front end is often your clue before you ever check the block casting. Quick pause. Hit like and subscribe right now, because this next part is where most used Silverado buyers lose their money. So far, the first-gen LM7 is a buy. The second-gen is a buy only if the AFM is handled. Coming up, the third-generation trucks where direct injection changes the game, and the 1-3-year range I am telling you to avoid entirely. No exceptions, no matter how clean the truck looks or how good the price is. Have your year ready. Let's keep going. Gen 3, the L83, 2014 to 2018. Okay, with your eyes open. In 2014, the third generation 5.3 arrived, the L83, and this is where GM, in the words of the mechanic whose teardown inspired this video, flipped the script. These engines were designed for efficiency, fuel economy, and emissions first, and durability second. That is not an insult. It is just what they are. Gone is the cast iron block. Every one of these is aluminum. The compression ratio jumped to 11:1. And the biggest change, direct injection. Instead of spraying fuel at the intake port, these spray it at extremely high pressure directly into the cylinder. That brings two problems a used buyer needs to understand. First, carbon buildup on the intake valves, because fuel no longer washes over them to keep them clean. Second, a high-pressure fuel pump buried in the valley of the engine under the intake. If it fails, the whole intake has to come off to reach it. GM also switched to thin 0W20 OIL and thinner, lower-tension piston rings, both for fuel economy and both of which raise the risk of the engine burning oil and of fuel diluting that already thin oil. And they dropped from 15 head bolts to 10. And yes, AFM is still here. The collapsible lifters are still here. So why is this only an eyes-open caution and not an avoid? Because the L83 from 2014 to 2018 is still fundamentally the proven LS architecture. The lifter problem is a known quantity you can plan around with a disabler or delete, and these trucks are everywhere at reasonable prices. Buy one. Just buy it knowing you will want to address the AFM, watch the oil consumption, and budget for an eventual carbon cleaning. Eyes open. And let me tell you specifically what eyes open means when you are standing in front of one of these. The oil consumption is the big one on the L83. Thin 0W20 oil, plus low-tension rings, plus direct injection, means some of these engines start sipping oil, and a truck burning a quart every 1,000 miles is telling you the rings are wearing. On a 14 to 18 truck, pull the dipstick and ask the seller how often they add oil between changes. If the answer is never, good. If it is a shrug, that is information. The carbon buildup on the intake valves is slower and quieter. It robs power and fuel economy gradually over tens of thousands of miles. And the fix is a walnut blasting that runs $400 to $600 when it is due, usually somewhere past 100,000 miles. None of this makes the L83 a bad buy. It makes it a truck you buy with a budget in mind instead of a fantasy that it is your grandfather's LM7. It is not. It is a modern, efficient, more complicated engine, and it will treat you fine if you go in with your eyes open. The L84, 2019 to 2021, avoid. This is the one. If you remember one thing from this entire video, remember this. Avoid the 2019 to 2021 5.3. This is the year range I will not tell you to buy no matter how clean it looks. In 2019, GM updated the 3rd Gen 5.3 into the L84, and the L84 brought Dynamic Fuel Management, DFM. Active Fuel Management on steroids. Where the old AFM shut down 4 cylinders, DFM can shut down cylinders in 17 different firing patterns, which means all 16 lifters in the engine are now the collapsible failure-prone type, not just 8. More collapsible lifters means more failure points, and the data shows exactly what you would expect. A large uptick in lifter failures between 2019 and 2021. This is not a rumor. This is the window where the failures cluster. On top of DFM, 2019 also added auto start-stop, cutting the engine at every light and restarting it, another wear cycle on the same stressed components, and paired the engine with the 10-speed transmission. GM appears to have updated the lifter design around 2022, which improved things, but from 2019 through 2021, you are looking at the highest concentration of lifter failures in the engine's entire 27-year history, on trucks that are now out of warranty. When that lifter goes and takes the cam with it, that is your $6,000 repair, the one hiding in the truck on the lot that looks identical to the good one. And people always ask, can I not just put a disabler on a 2019 to 2021 and be fine? Not the same way. On the earlier AFM engines, the disabler stops 8 lifters cycling. On DFM, all 16 lifters are the collapsible type, and if one has already started to wear, which you cannot see from the driver's seat, a disabler does not undo damage already underway. You would be buying a truck whose worst component is already 16/4/16 on the failure-prone design, hoping none have started to go. That is not a bet I would make when the 14 to 18 and 22 and up trucks are sitting right there. If someone offers you a clean, cheap 2019 to 2021 5.3, the price is low for a reason. And when you go to sell it, the next informed buyer walks away from you the same way I am telling you to walk away today. There are too many good years to get stuck on the worst one. 2022, 2026, the redemption years. Here is the good news to end the buying map on. Around 2022, GM updated the lifter design that caused the carnage in the prior 3 years, and the late 3rd Gen trucks from 2022 to 2026 are meaningfully better for it. You still have DFM, you still have direct injection, thin oil, and 10 head bolts. All the eyes-open items from the L83 still apply. But the single worst problem, the epidemic of collapsible lifter failures, was addressed in these years. If you want a late model 5.3 with a factory warranty still remaining, or close to it, the 2022 and up trucks are the ones to target. They are the safest of the modern 5.3s. And there is one more reason these years matter. 2026 is the final production year of the 5.3. In 2027, GM replaces it with a larger 5.7-liter V8, a brand new, first-year, unproven engine with its own redesigned cylinder deactivation, which means the 2022 to 2026 5.3 is the last version of a 27-year-old thoroughly understood engine. Sometimes the smart buy is the last year of the old thing, not the first year of the new one. Think about what 27 years of production means for a buyer. Every weakness is documented, every fix is known, every part is cheap and on the shelf, and any mechanic in America has worked on this engine. Compare that to the 2027 5.7, new block, new internals, a redesigned cylinder deactivation system that has never run 100,000 miles in a customer's truck. History says the first 3 years of any all-new GM truck engine are where the surprises live. The AFM disaster itself showed up on a first-year redesign. So if you want a late 5.3 with warranty remaining, target 2022 and up, and a certified pre-owned one with powertrain warranty intact is the lowest risk modern 5.3 you can buy today. The checklist and the verdict. So here is your buying map in one breath. First Gen LM7 99 to 07, the most durable 5.3 ever built, buy it. Second Gen 07 to 13, buy if the AFM is deleted or you will delete it, and find the iron block. Third Gen L83, 14 to 18 fine with your eyes open on AFM, oil consumption, and carbon. 19 to 21 L84, avoid. the lifter failure window. 22 to 26, the safest modern years, the redemption trucks. Now, whatever year you are looking at, run this checklist before you hand over $1. 1. Cold start the truck yourself and listen for a tick or a lifter rattle in the first few seconds. That sound is the $6,000 warning. 2. Pull the oil cap and look for sludge or milky film. 3. Ask for oil change records. An AFM engine that went 10,000 miles between changes is a ticking clock. 4. On any 14 and up truck, ask whether it burns oil between changes. 5. On any AFM or DFM truck, ask the magic question: has the AFM or DFM been disabled or deleted, and is there paperwork? A yes to that is worth more than low miles. Drop the year of the truck you are looking at in the comments right now, and I will tell you what to check first on that specific one. I read every comment on these. Hit like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.